to 6PI, your source for the esoteric, irrelevant, and total nonsensical stuff that happens in our everyday lives. I'm your host, Mitch Miller. And guys, first off, I know I said this a couple weeks ago, but thank you. Thank you so much for giving us a listen and downloading our podcast. I have really, really good news to share with each and every one of you. So on our previous podcast that came out with John Ruane, that has completely doubled the number of listeners that we had on our first interview with Ollie. And that is just amazing news. It means that we're growing as a podcast. It means that the time you guys put into listening to this podcast is not wasted. We hear you. The other people who listen to it hear your voice in some sort of weird, cosmic, subconscious way. But it means that, hey, you're liking what you're hearing. Guys, this is so awesome. We have passed a really big milestone. I'm not going to tell you the exact numbers because I don't want to give away basically our business, but we have completely doubled the amount of listeners that we have received on this podcast since the previous interview. That has been an absolute awesome experience. An awesome thing to see unfold. I must encourage you guys more. If you want to make this podcast grow more, if you want to see this podcast evolve into its full potential, I do ask you to share with your family, your friends, your coworkers, anybody who's in your line of sight, anybody who's in the sound of your voice. I will ask you, I will implore you, please, oh please, give us a like, give us a mention, give us a share on your Facebook, Twitter, any sort of social media. Maybe even show Donald Trump so he can say something nice about it, and then, everybody else hates it because he likes it. Either way, publicity is good publicity in most cases. Guys, oh my gosh. I just came back from work, and I'm going to be honest with you guys. I started a new job, and I like it. I really do. But there's one thing I really don't like about this job, and it's that you have to wear a tie. I know that's not such a big thing, and you're saying, Mitch, why would you be complaining about wearing a tie? If that's your biggest complaint, the job would be pretty good. But I have to be honest with you guys, I absolutely hate wearing ties. I don't ever see the purpose of them. They don't do anything for the person wearing them. It's just basically a style piece. It's this long sock that you wear around your neck. A long sock that you have to tie in a knot. And if you don't know how to tie it in a knot, then there's a long road ahead of you trying to tie something. I'm guessing you could throw it over a ceiling fan, get into a knot around your neck, be a little bit uncomfortable. You might lose oxygen. You might, eventually die, but hey, the tie would be tied, right? But man, these things, I just do not understand why we carry some trends on until this day, or why some trends start the way they do. I can maybe understand 200 years ago why a person would wear a tie, if they were wearing ties then even. Heck, come to think of it, I don't think they were wearing ties until the turn of the 19th century. Either way, though, why is it that this thing is the thing that symbolizes a formal work environment? The tie. The tie where it's about the size of 2 sock lengths, but it can be used as a napkin after you're done eating. It is something that is floppy. It's not stiff. It's not really pasted to your clothes. It's just kind of laying there. It's something that, kind of has, the fat front piece that everybody sees, and then it has this kind of long phallic tail behind it. And it's pointless. It's pointless, people. I don't know how many guys out there have to wear ties at the job you're currently at. There has to be at least a couple of you. The one thing I think every guy can complain about with a tie is just wearing it around your neck. If you have it loose around your neck, it's not so bad, but no, you can't leave it loose around your neck. That looks unprofessional. It looks sloppy. You have to tie it so tight that if your face is not turning purple, if you're not a cool shade of maroon or magenta, then man, you're not wearing your tie wrong, boy. I'm telling you, I'm playing with it in my hands right now because I'm just so sick of this thing being on my body. What purpose does this thing serve? I have absolutely no idea. It is literally the least functional piece of clothing I can think of. Outside of maybe, help me out here, people. Scream something out into your microphone. Least functional piece of clothing since like a garter belt. Yeah. You that said garter belt, there you go. Yeah, exactly. And so not only is this thing tied around your neck, but you also have to tie it. And boy, oh boy, this is the most fucking hard thing to do. It's Doesn't make any sense when you think about it or when you do it. So basically, you have to have the fat end of the tie all the way down to your crotch area, where this little phallic end of the tie, the thin end, you have to hold it in your left, you have to flip the tie over, you have to pull it through, you have to push it down, you have to pull it up, and that's like 6 steps right there. If you don't know how to do it, you're going to be spending 2 hours trying to figure it out. Because it's not like tying a shoe. You don't do crisscross applesauce around the corner, back again. You can't do that with a tie. You're going to start looking like you're wearing a bolo tie, but you're in the Victorian era. It's not going to look right. You're going to look stupid, and you're probably going to get fired because, hey, if you don't know how to tie a tie, I mean, you're not a man, right? I mean, a tie makes a man. I mean, that's what they tell us. Guys, I have to admit, I feel so much older with this tie on. I think I add 10 years wearing this stupid thing. If I take it off, I feel about 10 years younger. I look about 10 years younger. But now when all the kids call me 30, I know now it's not because of my beard, but it's because of my tie. This tie is the thing that is breaking my confidence and is breaking just my absolute will to be young. I feel like it's squeezing the youth out of me, to put it ever so bluntly. This is the strangest apparatus of clothing that one has to wear in a formal environment. I can understand uncomfortable shoes, or actually I can't. I don't know why shoes have to be so uncomfortable for work. That work shoes have to be the most plain, boring looking things as well, but also they can't be comfy on your feet. If there aren't any blisters on the bottom of your feet, then you're not wearing work shoes, you're wearing sneakers. I don't care how brown and how leather they are or how naugahyde they are. Well, hopefully there's not any naugahyde shoes, but you get my point. Work shoes are not comfortable either. They are the epitome of what it's like to go to work. You have hard brown shoes. They don't make it, folks. You have this uncomfortable piece of cloth that you put around your neck that you can hang yourself with after work, after you're done. But there are the 2 pieces of clothing I don't get. I can get the trousers, I can get the shirt, I can get on board on all that. So what's the deal? What's the deal? Who started this trend? Why is it the way it is? Why are there so many people my age just do not care to keep this traditional dress alive? That's my question to you. And maybe you can make work fun. You could get something like a bolo tie. A bolo tie, what the cowboys wear. I asked my boss at the current center I'm working at, can I wear a bolo tie? And he just kind of laughed. I'm like, no, I'm being serious. It's a tie. And he just kind of gave me a kind of like a muddled response. I don't know. And I'm like, if I wore a bolo tie, I'd be rocking that bolo tie anywhere I went. I think, yeah, they're old manish. You never see anybody young, anybody under 35 wearing a bolo tie. And everybody that wears a bolo tie has the mustache goatee combo. But I think it's one of those things as to where it's not going to be too tight on you. It's something you can constantly adjust. And it doesn't look overly hard to maneuver. It's not like you're wearing a big piece of metal on your chest. It's not like you're trying to tie a corset around your neck with a very thin piece of cloth. This thing actually looks comfortable. It looks like it actually pops up your collar. It makes it stand out, whereas a tie, depending on how thick the tie is and how thick the actual shirt collar is, it may or may not work together. That's enough about ties. Hey, before I go, I do have some awesome news for you. We are back next week with another interview. Our guest is going to be Matt Weiss-Paz. Matt is an awesome dude who is a Muay Thai boxer and probably one of the most rough and tumble English teachers that you'd ever meet in your life. And he's also quite a sweetheart. Matt, you're a sweetheart. This guy is going to come on, talk with us about technology, how it affects our everyday lives, and we're also talking about the dependence that technology plays. And how we can or can not survive without it. We're going to be talking about that and a whole lot more. Hey, if you like today's episode, make sure you give it a share. I know I kind of go off the walls on this episode, but hey, maybe there's some other frustrated folks out there. Maybe there's some other male guys that that just hate ties, and I'm sorry, ladies, but maybe this is the punishment we get for not being able to rear a child or do child rearing. I don't know which way is the correct way to say it. Let's go with the latter. Anyway, but find somebody out in your life who hates ties, who absolutely hates ties. Recommend this podcast to them. Make sure they like, subscribe. Make sure they download the podcast and share it with all their friends and family too. because I am sure everybody can relate to this. But once again, thank you. Matt Feistpause is going to be on the podcast next week. And everybody, stay tuned.